Chat. How we doing? How we doing? How about those Heat, man? How about those Heat? Um, Actually, before we start shooting shit, Josh, you want to go ahead and pull straight up that entry because the game's starting literally this minute. We can tap right into this real quick. Boom, there it is. Starting right now, 1 minute. Tail, if you want to lock in. Ryan Mountcastle over 1.5 bases and Levon Soto over half a base. Got to lock in on something of these early games, and that's what we're going with. My own creation, just me, no crops today. But we got Shelly coming on in a little bit, and we got POD Pete coming on a little later, even though we have a pretty thin baseball slate. But this is what we're working with for these early games. Morning, fellas. Now we can start talking about it. How about the Miami Heat, man? I want to hear all of these Celtics fans are chirping in the chats, saying the Heat were going to be competitive in the series. Lock in, because it's going to be a long series. Hemi Butler, absolutely. Hurt against the Knicks. Absolutely not. He's back. Back and had a great game. Shout out to Celtics for not showing up. How do I track bumps with my eyes? That's how I do it. And yeah, but it's Tatum. He actually had a decent game though. Had a decent game. But Jimmy, the Jim Reaper, I like that. So shout out to Heat. What a game. Celtics fans muting their accounts until they win a game, which probably is going to be game two. So we'll lock in for that. Heat plus 300 was so disrespectful. Yeah, kind of used to it by now. They don't give them much respect on lines. So I wasn't really shocked to see that. Usually in that situation, I'd be worried about the line. But yeah, crazy how Spolstra is number one coach of the year. I know, man. That's what I'm trying to say. Obviously, I'm a biased Heat fan, but Spolstra is one of the most disrespected coaches in the sport. And that probably more than anything is their biggest advantage in the series is Spolstra versus Missoula. So I'm excited for that. Celtics money line, free lay piece. Celtics minus 8.5, absolutely free lay piece. But we can talk about some stuff on the diamond tomorrow too. We can pull up the recap of the best bets yesterday that we talked about, which even though we didn't have the graphic, we still had some going here. Josh, if you want to get that ready. Boom. Look at that. Sweep from Krabs. Give Krabs his respect, man. That obviously the Boston Red Sox money line, air, team total of the squad ride, air, got runs both in San Fran and in Coors. One in Coors looked a little scary. I was a little scared to see that. Not picking up runs until the middle, where the Rockies just piled on like a 6-run inning and a 5-run inning, if I'm not mistaken. So that was nice there. So Krabs with a crisp 3-0, sharp line on the cards too. I got my heart broken with the Cubs, ML, and that reverse run line for the challenge. That was heartbreaking, but everything else, big dub, big dub. And then, of course, Boston team total, squad ride, probably the freest one we've had in some time. Some time. That was absolute air. Put a dub in the chat if you tailed that one. Hit in the second inning pretty easily. Shout out Marco Gonzalez for the turkeys. But yeah, how about that? That's a W for I don't know Wednesday, but it was pretty slim slate. Not usually like the Thursdays that we have like today, where the slate kind of sucks. Maybe even worse. So yeah, dub yesterday. Shout out everybody. Marco is terrible. Absolutely right. Um, Josh, think we got this game starting. If you want to pull up the game cast while we're talking for this Orioles Angels game, so we can sweat the props. And yeah, Freeze, that was the worst bullpen performance I've seen in a while by the Cubs, and that's saying a lot because their bullpen. I can't say I've been betting them like religiously this season, but when I have and when I've lost coin on them, it has been because of their bullpen being horrendous, and that one absolutely hurts. So that sucked. Ray's report, we'll get into that in a second. And yeah, grumbling that's tough. Wells already got a K. Love to see it. Love to see it. As long as it's not who do we have in that game? Oh, we have at the end, so we're good. Where's Krabs? I don't know. He's doing some corp shit with the family. I think he might be going golfing. So I'll let him tap in piece of that. Because with the last leg, yeah, absolutely heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Everybody's on Wells overs. I guess so. I saw it quite a bit. So I mean, I'm certainly not rooting against it unless Levon Soto's up. Had Astros at 5, and of course they didn't hit a full game. Yep, that's how it happens sometimes, Nikki. Ducking the grind. That's funny. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna have Shelly come on here in a little bit and talk some puck. Got a big game tonight. Panthers Canes starting off that series, and then a little bit later, even with kind of the short slate and may not have too much to go through. We'll have POD Pete on talk about the baseball slate a little bit and what he thinks about it. Talk through some games, even if we don't have super confident plays. So we'll see. We'll see what's up. The Rays line's moving like crazy. Yeah, a little bit. Not shocked to see that. Yeah, you want to talk about bullpen collapses? The Cubs hurt. Not even bet on the Rays. I was very close to betting on the Mets, to be honest with you, and that one hurt even more. I didn't think we'd see a day where the Rays offense is carrying them and their bullpen is consistently selling games. So that one kind of hurts. The Polar Bear legacy home run and extras. I like Pete Alonso. That's my guy. Tampa bred. But that one hurt. That one hurt. Francisco Alvarez home run to tie it in the ninth. That one hurt. Yeah, Jason Adam and Pete Fairbanks. Pete Fairbanks hasn't been looking right since he had his little. I don't even know what the condition is with his hand where he can't feel it or something. It's like drop foot, but with your hand. That one hurts. Jason Adam. Oh my God, we already got an Otani nuke. This game's soaring over, man. Game's soaring over. Bang Otani. No Trent's brick for his goat whale. Absolute goat whale. You had Rays and Cubs as the last two legs for your cash. 13 U's, man, that hurts. That hurts. Yeah, Nerfy betters are absolutely drowning. A haunt on the Nerfy in this game? Good shit. I like it. Stakes on the Angels TTO. Good look. Don't mind that. Trent took the Nerfy. I thought he said he was going to lay off, man. I thought he said he was laying off the cake. Can we confirm that? Can we confirm that he laid off the cake? He lied. I bet, man. I bet. At least to a Shohei, so he doesn't have to be. He can't be too mad at it because that's a go well bang. Yeah, there's the 20. Burned by his own go well. So he can't be too pissed. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I definitely think we're getting some more runs in this game. Hopefully from Mountcastle and maybe a legacy Levon Soto nuke. That would be awesome. Not really counting on that one, but I'd love to see Mountcastle go yard. Rory is Rapis. You're sweating the PGA Championship on this fine Thursday morning. We love to see that. Yeah, this MLB slate sucks. That's why today's episode is going to be kind of more of a little talking. We're sweating obviously this day game here and the props we have in it. So it'll be a little more chill. We'll have Shelly come on, like I said, Shelly and Peter D. Pete come on and talk to Slate a little bit. It's, I guess, really important. I get to break down the game one on the ice for sure. And yeah, you got to already look at tomorrow's slate. Already got to look at tomorrow's slate, get in the lab, look at these matchups for these series that are starting up soon. For sure. Don't have prize picks. Do they ever have pitcher walks up? Yeah, they do. They have walks up, but they're very selective of the ones they put up for the most part. They'll have a couple of days where they have, half the pitchers up for it, but usually most of the time they'll have, a handful of pitchers up for it, if that. So yeah. Tony just homered against his future team. I bet, Thrasher. I bet. Are the Red Sox legit? I mean, dude, their bats are certainly legit. Even at the start of the season, the pitching staff has been, I will say, better than a lot of people thought they would be, myself included. I was very high on the Red Sox, but I thought their pitching staff was going to be just downright atrocious, which hasn't been great, but hasn't been terrible either. I wasn't really sure of the Pavetta decision to the bullpen that they just announced yesterday, or why today was the right timing with him coming off of one of the better performances of his season so far. I don't know what that is, but I mean, he's looked decent in certain spots. I know he's been a majority. He allows a lot of barrels, so he hasn't been great, but he's had good matchups and he's looked good. Brian Bayo is a guy that I'm pretty high on. He looked great yesterday for most of the time. Another plus matchup for him. I mean, Tanner Houck, when he has a good matchup as well, he can be decent. It's just they're doing enough. Their bats are absolutely electric right now. So that's a lineup that you don't want to fade, and you don't want to be on the mound against them. Not a great start for the Nerfies today, for sure. I like Yuri Perez today. Yeah, I kind of do. He's a very similar build to what they just saw yesterday in Edward Cabrera. So that could be good, could be bad for a team who doesn't strike out much against anybody, but even righties too. I know they're better against lefties, but they don't strike out much against righties. That could be a plus matchup for them, although they just saw it yesterday. So I do kind of lean Yuri Perez to deal. And the Marlins bats, really, I think they pick it up against Trevor Williams. Trent Stocks. Miguel Vargas today. You like that, huh? Joke at PRA. We're already on the NBA, man. Yeah, I saw the line movement on Rays. I saw it. Not too. I don't think it's too strange. Don't think it's too strange. I like the under. Burned a lot of people on Tuesday. Okay. Not mad at it. Joey Wendell legacies. There's a couple people, and I guess we'll talk about it when PODP comes on too. The Marlins have a lot of bats up today. I don't know. I don't want to say strange, just that they're offered, but they have a lot of decent matchups today. Brian De La Cruz, Brian De La Bonds has been getting really hot recently since we kind of chirped him with Krabs a couple days ago. He's been getting hot, and they have him up for a fantasy score today, which is interesting. Pretty good matchup for him. So we'll go over a couple of those. Araya is obviously a +1. Love that. Stay away from Rays. I don't know. I just want to stay away from that series in general. Favorite plays, Yankees, Jays, first 5 over. No, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Tim Anderson run prop, looking at you funny. Absolutely, absolutely. That's a strange one for sure. He's had a couple times where he's been up for this, and he just hasn't done anything, which is why I can't get myself to take it. But it's certainly, I think, a good look today. And yeah, I saw that Joey Ortiz up for hit run and RBI. I had to lock that one in because I was insane. 2 for 16 on the year, hitting the 9 hole. The 9 hole hit runs and RBIs are always very suspicious. Yeah, also only 5 games, 100%. Red is wrong. Krabs is Corp with the family. So we got guys filling in today. And Blue Jays is sharp today. I don't really know that it is, to be honest with you. Don't really know what it is. Rays Marlins over in the Jays Yanks game. What sells you? I don't know. Well, the Jays Yanks game is weird, which again we'll talk about. That game's either going to have a lot of runs or it's going to have absolutely none. I don't think there's going to be any sort of in between. That's the way those kind of 9 totals have gone, especially with Barrios on the mound at home. So I'm not really sure what to expect from that one, but I mean, certainly can't talk you out of the over. What's your take on the ice tonight? We'll get to that in a few seconds when Charlie comes on here. Seeing a lot of people on White Sox X5. Yeah, you're probably going to see that with C's. Even with as inconsistent as he's been, that's usually the story. Is Judge typically up for a run? He has been lately. Yeah, spending your time with your family is so corp. Ridiculously corp. Rays Mets been soaring over. I feel like no one wants to touch the under today. I mean, yeah, 100%. 100%. I do think the Rays bats are in a pretty good spot, though. There's some weird odds there, too. We talk about Josh Lowe. If anybody's looked at the home run odds, Josh Lowe's at the top of them, which is very strange in and of itself. He has a really good matchup, too. I really would love if he had something up on Prize Picks. So he's at the top of the home run odds. He's also leading off today, which he's been pretty solid in doing. And, I mean, Miguel, that's a pretty good matchup for the Rays. There was a lot of fastballs. So, yeah, LX Drips talking about the home run odds, 100%. They are not just collectively low, but the order is a little off. So I'll say that. Yeah, Dead Larry Bird, I mean, baseball brain likes the Rays for sure. Does for sure. I mean, that's a really good matchup for them. Should you take Lau's bases on the books? Yeah, I've absolutely no problem with that. Low for Lau. Yeah. So it always has to be Josh Lowe or Brandon Lau. So I got to respect it. All right. Looks like we have Chelly in here. Ready to talk some puck. Ready to talk some Game 1 Panthers Canes. Excited to hear it. Excited to hear it. What we got in incoming Mount Castle at bat. So we'll keep this up here for a second. Chelly, you ready?
What's going on, boys? What's going on, Javon?
What's good?
Not much, man. Obviously, FaceTime you like a little bit last night when we got back from the FC Dallas game to thank you for the over because that was air.
It was air.
And then, dude, we got tucked in KBO last night.
Yeah, we gotta tell the people about our secret collab nuke.
Well, so we were on which one? Are we talking about like you just seeing that guy on Prize Picks for like over 6.5 hits, and you're like, well, that's the highest hits I've ever seen.
I mean, yeah, I guess that was part of it. Yeah.
So Javon saw that, and I was like, well, who are they playing? He's like, oh, it's who was it? It was the Twins versus the KT Wiz.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's got to be like minus 200 for the what are they called? The Twins?
Twins, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they get your own name. Like, that's crazy. They have to call them. Confusing me. The LG Twins. Yeah. So we took LG Twins. It was minus 135. And yeah, out of bookie piss. So love that. Love that.
Absolute air. That was nice. Yeah. Nice coin to wake up to.
It was fire. It was fire.
Yeah. That was post demon entry. Was that
post demon entry? Oh, you want to talk about the demon entry?
I mean, we can. I didn't know if you posted that yet.
I haven't posted it yet. I have not posted it yet. I guess I'll post it later. Trent probably wants to post it too. But we can talk about the hockey tonight. I know I'm going to tweet out real quick that I'm on BTL though, hopefully, because I know some people wanted to come in here and hear us chop it up real quick because it's a meeting of the minds whenever we talk, Javon. I feel like you're more analytical and you like to kind of read the line movement, and like obviously you are sharp as hell on prize picks and you're pretty tapped into that. So people like when we come on and kind of chop it up.
Yeah,
So
of course, of course.
so I'm gonna go ahead and tweet out real quick that
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I'm excited to see what we have for game one today because I feel like it's one that we're going to hear. I don't know. A lot of the times, there's probably a very obvious side that I'm kind of expecting to hear all day, and I know the Panthers are probably the exciting team that everybody's going to take at plus money, but
yeah.
I don't really know. I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm down to chop it up real quick. So I kind of was curious, chat. I guess I'll ask you guys, chat. Who do you think would be considered the square? So if you're like the square better, you log on, you see that there's game one tonight, and you want to take a money line. Which side would you consider the square side or the public side? Personally, right now, just looking at these lines, I'm saying that Panthers would probably be. I think recency bias. You know, you beat the Bruins round one. You take care of business against the Leafs. And if I don't know anything about puck and I'm just kind of hopping into this, I'm probably putting money on the Panthers at plus 125.
I could see that. My one concern of that probably would be have the Canes lost at home.
They lost the Islanders at home, I believe. I can't remember if the Devils stole one on the road. I know for sure the Islanders won one in Carolina.
Okay.
So I understand that they're really, really good at home. Which is probably why this line is priced at where it is. Because if they weren't, that dominant at home, I think we would see this line a little bit shorter. But minus 145, it's a good amount of juice for a game one against, one of the hotter teams in the playoffs. I would say the Florida Panthers knocking off two really formidable opponents. So that's kind of where my thinking with, so obviously I'm on the Canes to win the series. I'm on the Canes to win the cup at this point. But I think I think we see these teams trading blows back and forth again. But game one should go into the hands of the Panthers, or sorry, into the hands of the Canes. I'm not as confident on the Panthers on the road. At home, they've been pretty solid, but on the road, obviously they took care of business in Toronto, which is very impressive. And then they started heating up, getting that win in Boston. But I don't know. It's tough to say they're going to come into Carolina and dominate, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you, if you're talking about liking the Canes in the spot, do you think it's going to be more on the back of them really locking down defensively, like they've been very prone to do, or are they going to get to Bobrovsky, who's looked absolutely immaculate this entire postseason?
Yeah, but Bob has been absolutely locked in, which is why I'm going to be tapping into the first period under in this game, which, game ones I've come on BTL before and kind of talked about how much I love game one unders just because you come out, you feel out your opponent. Nobody wants to make an early mistake. And obviously you got Bob who's locked in. But if you think about it, the Canes haven't played the same competition as the Panthers defensively. The Panthers haven't really seen a team as good as the Canes. You could argue that the Bruins were, but I mean, I would say the Bruins kind of slacked off a little bit, and the Canes have looked the best defensive team so far in the playoffs. I would argue maybe the Stars would be the other team, but I think the Canes have been pretty locked in with Freddie back there. They didn't have him last year, right? They were starting, I think, Ranta towards the end. So, I mean, they've just looked really, really good defensively. This Panthers team, I mean, if they think they're going to come in and put 30, 35, 40 SOGs up against this Canes team, you're just mistaken because they haven't allowed that all season. Even when they play against these Panthers, Leafs, these teams that like to rip puck, the Canes don't allow those types of SOGs. So I think that we do see a slower paced game. The Panthers are going to have to make some in-game adjustments. Maybe they drop game one. I would, be cautious taking the Canes game too, because Panthers are good enough to make those adjustments. But I mean, with that being said, let's see. The Canes played the Islanders and then they played the Devils. So they haven't really seen an offense that has been ripping 30, 35 SOGs so far in this playoffs. So I'm excited to see how they kind of come out and adjust to that play style, because you play the Islanders, you play the Devils. Now we're playing the Florida Panthers. This is a completely different play style, fast pace, up and down the ice, odd man rushing. I mean, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I hope the Canes can come in and lock in and not be blindfolded.
Feel that. Feel that. I mean, talking props, because I was trying to figure out which side of this game I leaned on as far as like which play style was going to win out here. I was looking at Bobrovsky saves, and if you're talking about,
Wow, that is high.
I know, I think it's high, but I honestly kind of lean the under.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why that number would be at 31.5. Who has been ripping on the Canes more than 3 SOGs a game? One guy, and his name is Brent Burns.
Brent
I mean, that's a crazy number. I didn't even see that. If you would have asked me what I thought this number should be at, I would probably have told you 26.5, maybe 25.5. Yeah, I mean, Drew Natchez, sure, but you just named the guy. I mean, you can go look at Natchez last 5, and he's been ripping, and he's probably been averaging 3 on the head. So I mean, it's a lot to say. Aho's hasn't been ripping, right? Like all these guys who they kind of need to be ripping. Seth Jarvis hasn't been ripping. Like, I think that number is priced way too high. I would probably lean the under as well, just first glance, but I don't know why that number is at 31.5. It makes me kind of sketched, man, to take an under.
Did kind of scare me. And then I saw, or at least I saw the juice has been creeping down, at least in the books, which kind of gave me the signal there. But you got to clear this up too. So I'm pretty sure.
I don't think they did.
No. So I think that the SOGs aren't reg only. I think that was specifically the little new time on ice props that they on that are only in reg. Everything else is just normal. The time on ice props I don't think were up at the time that little banner showed up. So it didn't make sense, but now they're up. I'm pretty sure that's all that's included in that. So it should be normal.
Yeah. It'll say if it's in reg, it has a little thing next to the game. It'll say like in regulation only.
There you go.
But yeah, I will say that this does kind of scare me seeing the save prop this high, because if the Panthers go up, I think that this Carolina team can kind of fire at will. They've done it all year. If they'll go down, they'll have 40 SOGs. They did it against the Islanders. They did it against the Devils. Like when they're losing, they will rip puck 100%. They have guys who just, they have defenders who just rip from any point on the ice. Top of the blue line, it doesn't matter. So this does kind of scare me. I think he will go over if the Canes are behind 1-2 goals early, and we see them kind of needing to come back and not drop the first game at home. But I really think the Canes get this one done tonight. I also think we see a low scoring affair. So I'm probably I would lean under on this for sure. That is a lot of saves.
A lot of saves. Just gotta hope they go down early or go up early.
Go up early, yeah, and they will sit back and defend that lead. Yeah, so
for sure. I do want to talk some squares though, if you have any that you're kind of liking.
Honestly, I am going to be probably looking at Montour today. He's not as good away from home. His splits aren't as good. But I mean, you got to think this Carolina team defensively does a really good job of defending the crease and kind of limiting that forecheck, which is why the Devils struggled so heavily against them. So the Panthers are going to need their defenders to kind of step up and rip puck from pretty much anywhere on the ice and create opportunities and keep it dangerous. So like I would look at Montour because he's been the main guy for them. I'm not even looking at that 9. That 9 is complete. That you should kind of ignore that 9 SOG game. I mean, overtime and it was just a weird game it was just a weird game against the Leafs, because I didn't really think that the Leafs kind of tried to sit back, but then it was a weird game, right? So I would ignore that 9. That 9 shouldn't really sway you. It's just more of the matchup today. They need a guy like Montour to step up and make dangerous opportunities, because it's going to be tough for them to do.
I can get down with that. Would you consider that new little combo SOG and block shots prop for Montour?
I haven't. Wait, you pulled up? SOG plus block shots for Montour.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
I don't hate that. 5 is a decent amount, and he's not really. He's kind of the more attacking minded defender out of him and obviously Ekblad and Forsling. Like I would say he's more attacking minded.
Okay.
Um, but you know what? I actually didn't even see that. When did they put that up? Is that when they put up the time on ice stuff?
Yeah, I think they both came up together.
Gotcha. Honestly, dude, I would probably rather take Brent if I'm gonna take that. I'd take Brent Burns over Montour. Um, Burns is just a demon, in my opinion.
I like
I would rather take a Brent Burns because he can have 5 SOGs. Montour can too, but I would trust Burns on that type of combo before I take a Montour combo
that.
because he doesn't block as many shots. I think Burns would block more shots. They also don't have Burns like his just normal block shots prop up.
Do they usually?
No, they don't. But I mean, if you want to look at his last 5, he had one game with 6 against the Islanders, and other than that, he's had like 1, 2, 1,
Ooh.
and then 0, 0 in his last 2.
Speaking of combo squares, you see that one up there too on the left?
Ooh, that
could be
is. Wait a minute, that's actually tasty. That is. I really like that.
That's
Didn't
looking
even.
real funny.
What has that been up to? I really didn't. I haven't like tapped in as much. I kind of was just focusing on like book props for now.
Yeah.
And then obviously my NHL series that I put out. I'm probably gonna be on that tonight. Actually, I don't think that stays at 6.5 for this series, for this whole series. See, like some of these combos are like really nice though. Like Aho and Kachuk, like pretty much 2 main goal scorers for both team. Obviously other than Verhaeghe, but like
Yeah.
they have a combo square together, right?
Okay.
I mean, Aho hasn't been ripping. Kachuk's been super inconsistent. So dude, I'm probably gonna be on that Brent. You know what? I'm 100% gonna be on that Brent Burns, Brandon Montour. That we haven't gotten a Brent Burns square with like somebody else that is a known ripper for a minute now.
It's a W square.
That is a W square for sure.
I like that. I'm gonna be on that too. Is there any of these goal? I guess there's only 2 up goal combo squares that are looking at you funny. I guess we have the one with Kachuk and the other.
So what I like to do for these goal squares, and like I'm a big unders guy on these.
Yeah.
But I also like to take guys who aren't putting up a lot of SOGs. So like last time I took Matty Beniers and Robo, right? I took their combo under goal in the last series because Robo was averaging 2 SOGs a game and Beniers was like averaging like half an SOG a game. So like really the opportunity wasn't there for either of these guys. Kotkaniemi and Kachuk, like I don't know, man. Kachuk can have 6 SOGs. Like Kachuk, I wouldn't take an under on him. If anything, I would look for an over on him. And then Verhaeghe Jarvis, that would be the one I would take the under on. But because Verhaeghe hasn't been good in this playoff so far. And Jarvis, his only goal so far in the series was a shorthanded goal. So, I mean, in the playoffs. But I don't know. I personally don't love either of these, but if I had to, since I'm going to be on the under, I would look at the Jarvis Verhaeghe under because Verhaeghe has been kind of slacky in the playoffs, to be honest. He's let other guys, more older vets, kind of step up and kind of fill their role. So,
yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to when there's only a few up, I like to take the corporate under, and then they always put one of the top goal scorers with a guy that to make you not want to take the square, pretty much.
Yeah, essentially.
So that's what I do like that. Lean with you there. While we're here, we got to talk about the potential nerfy on ice.
I mean, I am going to be on it. It's 9 minutes, which if it was 10, I probably wouldn't be on it. A lot. I think we've seen so far the Canes score within the first 8 to 10 in their games, and then Panthers obviously have just been kind of pretty fast out of the gates. But it's a game 1, right? It's a game 1. Bob, I expect to see Bob locked in still. Freddie at home, unbelievable. So I am going to be on. This will probably be the only time all series that I will be on the first period under and the nerfy on ice. we could get an early power play goal as always. Like that's the biggest risk here. We and again, last series, Devils, Canes. Really, the only way they were scoring early was power play goals or just like a crazy mistake, right?
Yeah.
But game one, I was on the first period under in that Canes game against the Devils. Air. And then obviously Panthers a little more sketchy, but with Bob back there, I'm going to trust him in game one. You should see the Canes first period under record. It's unbelievable.
Dude,
It's
I remember
unbelievable.
it. I remember. I mean, not even this season. I remember it used to be a wagon last season.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
prime. Let's just take it every single night. She was air.
Yeah, no, and they've continued that throughout the playoffs. So there's literally like, I think either one or two of the games. I 100% know one of the Devils games in their series went over first period, but it was like a fluke over. So I just hammered the first period under in the next game, and that was there.
So if we like the under, we like, I would assume, kind of a more physical game, right? There's got to be some hit Johnsons.
There's 100% some hit Johnsons.
Got to be.
There's 100%. Honestly, Aho at 1.5. I know that he's not really a guy you would think, and he's almost kind of a Reddit out guy. But he's a kind of a guy who'll come out game one and set the pace. I know it's a lot of people are gonna be like, why aren't you just taking, greened out? I don't even know who's greened out. I haven't really looked. But I do like Aho to come out and kind of set the pace. Game one. I don't know. Kachuk, I would stay away from. He sometimes doesn't come out, and it kind of takes Kachuk to get hit before he starts to hit, which is kind of an interesting one. So if he does get, hit by someone, he'll come out and hit them twice as hard. But that's what I'm running today. I'm probably gonna be on Aho hits. Some people are gonna be on. What are you gonna be on, Gudis? I know you're a big Gudis guy.
I love Gudis. Love getting Gudis hit. Well, because he's like throughout the regular season, he's usually the only guy that's at like 5.
Yeah.
Like whenever they put him that high, or anybody really that high, I'd take it. But he's at 4.5. I mean, nobody's really greened out hit wise, which is good. I guess kind of aligns with what we're expecting from this game. So I mean, it could be a situation where you just get rips.
Yeah.
That would be fire.
No, I 100%. I'm going to be looking towards some of those SOG plus block shots. I mean, what's Gudis's block shots at 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah, he's very inconsistent with his block shots. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be looking. I haven't really done my lab work for the face-offs yet, but I mean, some of these numbers are tasty. I think there's going to be a decent amount of stoppages in this game. And I'm a face-off merchant. I love me a good face-off prop. So I'm going to be probably tapping into most likely Barkov at 8.5 if I had to guess right now. But I have to do a little bit of lab work, get these face-off props out. But yeah, no, I'm 100% on that Brent Burns, Brandon Montour SOGs.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that definitely caught my eye going through the board here of all these squares, which, I mean, I don't know if you're taking a look at these. I don't even think these are consistently up throughout the playoffs, but I see Montour and Barkov both up for an assist today, which I thought was interesting.
That is very interesting. And they're kind of, I mean, Montour hasn't gotten one in the last 5. He didn't get one in that entire series. And then Barkov, yeah, I mean, I hate when they do this. So like a lot of times they'll try and, I feel like Prize Picks will try and kind of trick you because into overthinking it because I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear what you think.
Well, I can only speak for what I've seen throughout the regular season because, like I said, these haven't always been up for every single game of the playoffs. Ortiz single, let's go. That's huge. That's one hit run RBI. But yeah, when they've had these couple guys up on the same team with nobody up on the other side of the team or on the other team,
yeah,
meant goals. But typically, it's in situations where the Lightning are minus 250 against the Blue Jackets,
right?
Or minus 200 against the Sharks or some shit like that.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
usually they don't do this for like games that are more closely contested, which is why it kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, like initially I was just thinking like, oh, like a power play goal for Kachuk and like both these guys can hit. But I mean, the Kane's power play kill is unbelievable.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't understand this. I didn't even again, didn't even see this. This is sketchy. It's kind of scaring me a little bit right now.
A little bit.
It's a little scary, I'm gonna be honest, seeing two Panthers up for assists against no Canes. But you know what? I'm gonna
But
pretend like it's not there.
yeah, you don't have to spread it, act like it's there all the time. That's
Yeah.
a fact. A lot of weird
Um,
there, what?
what else do I want to say? I mean, yeah. What do you think game wise tonight? What are your opinions on the side and the total?
You know, I would be lying if I said I didn't slightly lean Panthers, but I just don't know if I can get myself to do it. To be honest with you, because I mean, I think it's going to be. I think there's going to be one of these games where they come out and absolutely blitz the Canes with
Okay.
one speed throughout the ice, and you get a one like big breakdown game from the Canes, even if it's on the road. It's not so sure when that comes. And tonight, with a 5.5 total now, down from 6, I'm not sure if I feel extremely confident in going with today to be the night.
Yeah,
But
I would agree with that. I also think that. What do you think? So if you think the Canes win this game tonight, what do you think we see the next line open up at for game two, for the side?
Canes probably minus 160.
You think? Yeah, you think it gets more juice, and I think that's when you take the Panthers.
I mean, I don't think they're going up 2-0 in the series, but
You know? Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they go up 2-0 by any stretch of the imagination. But I could see them stealing one tonight, and then maybe the Canes come out and shut them out game 2.
Brownlee says very short shutout line for Freddie.
I wouldn't say it's very short shutout line for Freddie. I would say it's a very juicy shutout line for Bobrovsky, if anything, because he's max odds. Like
Wow.
when there's a 5.5 total, you usually have guys that are sitting around plus 900 ish, kind of the higher end of the triple digits. But usually you get a little tick down for the team that's the underdog, not especially for a goalie that's that hot. Him sitting at max odds is a little interesting at plus 1,500.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't really know what to do with that there.
Um, but yeah, you mentioned it. Total started at 6, moved down to 5.5. I'm hoping that that's a good sign because I would never take. I haven't taken an over in game one in a very long time since like I even stayed away from it in the Kings Oilers, and I think there was like a really really late goal. I do remember that Kings scored that really late goal to force OT 3-3 OT. So I mean, even in that series where every game soared over pretty much, I mean, let's revisit it. Panthers every game went under against the Leafs last game, last series. So and Canes and Devils were going over when they probably shouldn't have been going over. Right.
Yeah,
That series was really weird.
that was.
So this total moving back from 6 to 5.5 is super telling, in my opinion, of what we're going to see tonight. So I'm going to be on the first period under. I know I've said it a couple times, minus 110 for first period under 1.5. I'll probably stay away from a full game under, but I would sprinkle on it if you're going to play it. First period under is my favorite. So
I like that. Might have to join you.
please do.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking too. What are you thinking for this series as a whole?
Damn, dude. So I have a future I'm riding, unfortunately. On the Carolina Hurricanes. Got them at plus 1,100 to win the cup, like before the season even started, when I thought they would have Pacioretty, and all these guys kind of coming into the picture. That being said, Panthers are probably have the hottest hand right now out of these 4 teams left. It pains me to say that I think the Panthers probably win this series, but I got a ticket in my back pocket. I can't afford to lose right now. It would be for like $3,300 if they won the cup. So I'm gonna be rooting for the Canes. It's just tough, man, because Panthers are probably the hottest team in the NHL right now, and I'm not ready to fade them by any means.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I do have a Panthers ticket in my back pocket from before the Leaf series, so I'm respectfully rooting for your piss, but
Smart ticket.
we'll see. Rays buzzing ready. Josh Lowe.
Um,
We love to see that.
Also, Teravainen is confirmed playing today.
Yes.
So that is not massive news. I mean, like, he's obviously a really good creator for them. And you know, I'm a little weary to see how he plays first game back is my big thing why it's not massive. But yeah, no, he's a big, you know, he'll set up a nice goal for Aho or somebody like that. But I want to see how he plays first game back because back from a hand injury could be a little bit sketch. That's why he's starting on power play too, right? So they obviously know that too. They're aware that he might be a little bit, you know, they're trying to be cautious with him tonight. So that's smart. I'm happy he's starting on PP2, honestly.
Yeah, I can get down with that. 100%. Sources saying the Millie entry dropped. Josh, you want to pull that up?
Yeah, let's get them.
A little bit. Let's see who he's rocking with. See if there's any puck.
Doubt it. I doubt it. If he's smart, there's not even if he's smart. Nah, there's definitely no hockey. Yeah.
Oh, there's never fun. No,
What are you looking at here?
Dude.
That's a
lot. Dude.
That's every over, man. And this game just soared over.
I mean, man, like, I know there's not much like on the board today, but why are we still trying SGPs, man?
Kicking it with Maine.
That's crazy. Oh man,
yeah, I don't know, man. Didn't this game just have like what was it, 136 to like 128 or something crazy?
Yeah.
Like
game just soared over.
You're telling me that they're about to? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
The best entries I've seen for the Millie entry so far have been a mix of more and less, right? Like there's been three or four less, like two.
Yeah,
two
dude.
like,
I mean, the one that everybody hated and you hated.
I mean, dude, I wanted him to win, but so I said that on his thing because I knew it would do well if I talk shit. Word.
Glad you came on, talk some puck.
Appreciate you having me on. Final thoughts though before I head out.
Yep.
Just a quick recap, exclamation point recap in chat. First period under -110. All right, Canes unbelievable at hitting that first period under for us. Panthers coming off a series where they literally only went under that entire series. So I'm going to be on that -110. Can't pass it up. I think this total is going to stay at 5.5 for most of the series. And then favorite prize picks square, Brent Burns plus Brandon Montour, more than 6.5 shots on goal. Those are the two I'm probably most confident in. If you guys are looking to put, pair that with anything, I'll obviously tweet out a little bit more, but Brent Burns has been that guy for them. They need him to rip. And then Montour, obviously, the way the Panthers defend, or sorry, the way the Canes defend, inside the crease and the forecheck. Puck's gonna be bouncing up top to the blue line. He's gonna be putting puck on net. So love that combo square.
W. That's in your Montour's in your series goat well too.
He is indeed.
W. Well, let's hope we get some rips today.
100%.
Both those gentlemen, but especially Montour. And it was always FC Dallas money line too.
Dude.
Sources say you dropped a rack on that, right?
Sources say I'm out of bookie piss, and they would be correct sources.
And it was all because of FC Dallas.
FC Dallas, bro. I need to go to more MLS games, man. They're a lot of fun. $3 beers, $3 Mexican beers, $1 glizzy. Dude, I went up to order real quick before I hop off. I went up to order a hot dog, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a beer and a glizzy." And the dude just started cracking up behind the cashier. I was like, "My bad, bro. I meant hot dog.
God,
but yeah,
that's wild.
It was hype. Weird.
All right,
I'll be tuning in for some MLB plays. Dude, there's about to be a meeting of the minds here in a sec, so I gotta lock in. So.
Yeah, somebody's got to navigate through this slate. It is not fun.
No way.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be ready to lock in. Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you having me. We'll be.
For sure. W Chelly. Now we got the GOAT coming in hot. It's not just Fridays where he's on. He's coming on Thursday today because we got Crabsby and Corp. So we need some, even if we don't have many plays, I don't think he has any plays. We're coming to talk through the slate on the diamond, even with the couple games that we have left, because somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Pete, you ready?
What's going on?
How we doing?
Doing well. We got a legacy push last night from the Guardians and White Sox under. We hit the Orioles Angels under pretty easily. That game ended 3-1 and the total was 9. But I had under 9 in Guardians White Sox, and the White Sox put up 7. But Guardians just can't hit right now. So right now I'm writing up my power rankings 7 weeks in on justbaseball.com. And Guardians are pretty damn low, which sucks because I have a future on them to win the division. That's like my future right now of all of them that I'm like, oh, and Lindor to win MVP is a piss poor bet right now. So
we'll see what happens. Slightly cooked. Yeah, they suck. They're god awful. Even like Jose Ramirez are not last night. They're bad. Josh Bell, bad. Even though he kind of woke up yesterday.
Kind of.
Matt, I didn't take his prop. They had him up for 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. I found that out after the fact, after he hasn't done anything for about 5 years. Of course, he hit that, but
then like the rest of his at bats were terrible. So like he just got that home run early, and like that was it.
Oh, looks like we just got a Trout nuke. Trout nuke. Levon Soto walked to get on base. I bet, man. I bet. We're sweating out a little two-piece of Levon Soto over bases and Mountcastle over bases.
Soto, we were talking about him this morning in our group chat. We're like, his minor league numbers are so horrible. Like, I don't even know why he's up, but like, he might get a hit today.
Well, they added him like 30 minutes before the game, so I was like, yeah, you know what? I can get down with his matchup today. He actually had a really good at bat. It was like a 9-pitch walk that he drew. So
there we go.
He's locked in. But you know who's not locked in right now? Apparently, Tyler Wells. Not locked in. Not locked in at all. What is your report on the state of the Orioles right now?
I mean, I love the Orioles. I know obviously it's hard to say that right now when they're losing 3-0, but I still think they have a very decent shot of coming back. The story about the Orioles is that they have no starting pitching. But everything else is great. But like, I sometimes disagree with that because I do think Grayson is a very good arm. I think Tyler Wells is a very good arm. I think Kyle Bradish, we talk about it all the time. And, you and I were really on the forefront of Bradish because it was like, we see elite secondary offerings. It's just the fastball keeps getting pummeled. And he kept throwing it so much. But over his last 3 starts, that usage goes down and down and down. The slider usage and the curveball usage go up, up, and up. And he shoved yesterday against a really good Angels lineup against righties. And he shoved against the Braves. And the Pirates aren't doing too hot right now, but he shoved against them. So it's like we're seeing that unfold. They're going to get John Means back, which I think a lot of people forgot about. But he's a good left-handed arm. So they have those 4, and then like if Dean Kramer is your 5, they don't have top end guys, but if that's their weakness and it's still like slightly above average, like they have a fucking good ass team. I rank them very high in my power rankings.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to hate them right now, except for if you have an Orioles money line ticket in your pocket at the second. But I mean that lineup is scary, and I mean even if their pitching has been, I don't want to say underperforming because I guess we didn't have incredibly high expectations coming into the season, but I mean, I guess for guys like Grayson Rodriguez, you could say that a little bit. It's out hitting early. Yeah, it's early, so I mean, I don't want to say that in absolutes, but they are really having to rely a lot on out hitting people, which has lately not been as much the case as Bradish has been pitching well, especially. So I mean, I'm scared. I'm scared as Reds fan.
I mean, Yennier Cano hasn't allowed a run yet.
Dude, he's ridiculous.
Like, Felix Bautista is a top 5 closer in Major League Baseball. And they just got other guys like Brian Baker is a really good reliever.
Yeah.
Columbia, I think his name's Danny Columbia. I was watching him last night. I was like, dude, you're nasty. Who the fuck are you? And like when I don't know a player, like, I mean, I know of him, but like I don't know him well.
Yeah.
And he's throwing that well. I'm like, oh shit, what did I miss? He looked good too. Sanel Perez looks good. They're so deep, so they can weather the storm Like all they need is their starters to go 5 innings, 2 runs, and they usually will win the game in that way. And there's few teams who can say that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, the Rays can't even say that right now. To be honest with you, they're slipping a little bit. Bullpens. I was talking about this earlier. I think I'd never see the day that the Rays are going to have to be the team that just out hit everybody because their bullpen sucks. And I guess throughout the whole sample of the season, it doesn't very obviously, but lately,
I
agree. I don't know what to say about it.
It's just the thing is like, yes, you're right, but at the same time, it's like they keep doing bullpen games because the rotation is so dry right now that it's like the rest. These guys are throwing 20 pitches back to back to back. Yeah. And like that's going to like they still have very good arms there. And Pete Fairbanks has been injured. He's now back. Jason Adam, he gave up that just cookie slider to Francisco Alvarez. My friend sent me that. He was like, "Could you throw a better pitch?" And I was like, "I think so."
Good.
Like that was the worst pitch of the season.
It's terrible.
But because he's pitched like 7 days in a row, his arm's probably falling off right now.
Yeah. That's why the cycle of injuries is probably not going anywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Taj Bradley back today. Hopefully that sticks. Glasnow back in maybe a week. Hopefully that sticks too. That would be nice. And maybe we can stop this BS. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing turkeys, man.
Do you think Boz is going to come back anytime soon?
No. I think he'll
He's
be
not
back.
coming back at all. I thought September maybe.
Yeah, I think his timeline is similar to what Glasnow's was last season, where he's going to come back towards the end of the season and then possibly be in form for the playoffs.
I love him.
Yeah,
I love him.
So do I.
I think he's so good.
Yeah, he's awesome. But another team, or I guess a couple of teams, and I want to talk about it, probably the rest of the AL East. We got the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Red Sox, who are also kind of in very interesting positions. And you got, of course, the Yankees and Jays facing off today, which, I mean, the Yankees are starting to scare me. I'm sure they're starting to get you excited too. That lineup is starting to get healthier and they're starting to wake up and they're hitting the baseball. So, I mean, how you feeling as a Yankees fan right now? Krabs would be distraught to be finding out that we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah, Krabs can suck me. The Yankees getting Bader back was so huge. So huge because their outfield, it was like IKF playing center and Aaron Hicks in left, and like Jake Bauers has been fine. So when you have Jake Bauers in left, Bader in center, and Judge in right, that outfield looks so much better. Volpe just continues to get better by the day. DJ's been great at third. Glaber's been solid at second. And Rizzo's been one of the best first basemen in the game. And I still think Jose Trevino is a top 3, top 4 defender, even though the metrics aren't backing that up this season. Yeah. But Severino is going to come back on Sunday, which is huge for this team. But it's like Severino, it's like he could throw 7 shutout innings, then follow it up with 7, and then be on the IL again. It's like he just gives you 25 electric innings a year. And you're like, dude, please stay on the field. The bullpen is good, even though Ian Hamilton just hit the IL. So, I mean, they're heating up a little bit, but you'd expect them to heat up, right? Like, they were dog shit, and now they're finally starting to win games. So I'm not buying in fully yet, right? Like, at the beginning of the season, my prediction for the AL East was the Rays in first, Blue Jays in second, Yankees in third, Orioles in fourth, Red Sox in fifth. I still think there's a strong chance that the Yankees finish fourth behind the Orioles. I do. And they could even win like 89, 90 games and do that.
They can still make the playoffs doing that.
Yeah, they could still make the playoffs doing that. It's not an indictment on them. It's just by far the best division in baseball. And like even the Red Sox are doing like fine. Their offense is destroying baseball. So, you know, Yankee fans get mad at me. They're like, you're not a true fan. I'm like, I'm a realist. Like, look at the other teams. Yankee fans don't really watch other teams, with all due respect. Like, they're better than us. Like, we could overtake them. I would hope we do. But when we're betting on teams, when we look at the entire league and how everything is kind of getting figured out, I'm like, Orioles and Blue Jays and Rays are just better. Like, we're beating the Blue Jays right now, but that's not representative of the team versus the team over an entire season. So I like the Yankees. I think they're heating up. I think they still have a very good shot at the playoffs, but I'm worried about how the division is going to stack up as a Yankee fan.
Well, let me ask you too, because we're talking about throughout the course of the season, Do you think the back end of that Blue Jays rotation can keep it up? Because I was them
Who are
and the
you talking
Mariners
about?
were two teams that were very similarly popular at the beginning of the season. You're talking about like win totals and futures and everything like that.
Mhm.
And you're buying extremely high on them because the expectations were as high as they've been for both of those teams in years, I could say. And I would say the Jays are getting their success boosted a little bit from the success of the back end of that rotation that I don't think is very sustainable, frankly.
It's so funny though. Who do you put in the back end? Like, who are you talking about? Because the Blue Jays rotation is so interesting, right? Like, the number 5 starter is Alek Manoah, but at the beginning of the season, he was the ace, right? So Barrios was a trash can. Now he's like pitching better. So who do you mean by the back end? That's like we were talking about that on our pod. Like, what's the
Yeah.
back end of the Blue Jays? Is it
Well,
Kikuchi?
I certainly don't. I said success in the back end, so I'm certainly not talking about Turkey Alek Manoah, Mr. Thanksgiving dinner, because he might be the worst starter in all of MLB. He might be the
He's
worst
one of
starter
them.
if you put him in Double A too. He sucks. And everybody who consistently chirps in the chat about us being wrong about Alek Manoah every single time we bring it up, every start he makes, he sucks. Let's come to the realization of that. He's not very good.
His command is horrific.
It's
Horrific.
terrible.
He has no idea where it's going, and he doesn't have the stuff to back it up. He's just
Yeah. So I mean, I would say undoubtedly Gaussman is the ace. That's very non-negotiable. Then I would say the back end consists of Kikuchi, I would say. And then maybe I don't know if he's 3-4, but I would say Bassett's mid to back end of the rotation.
Here's how I would rank it. I'd probably go Gosman, Bassett, Barrios, Kikuchi, Manoah. Probably. But I think like any order is right. Like I don't think you'd be wrong however you want to rank them.
Well, how about we take the labels off and just say Chris Bassett has been absolutely unreal. Jose Barrios has been unreal, at least at home, where he is pitching tonight. And then Kikuchi has just randomly come out of nowhere and been fantastic in certain spots. It's like those are the guys that I would say regression is coming for one or maybe two of those guys. And I mean, I don't have any data to back that up. I haven't looked at that, but I mean, from watching these pitchers, I don't think they can keep it up. I don't know if you have any actual numbers that are telling you otherwise or anything that you've seen personally to kind of contradict that, but I'm interested to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, I can pull up because I was just looking at it. Like Chris Bassett was a guy who I had to apologize for on social media. And the reason being is because I was like, I don't know how that is going to age because the Blue Jays are very good, but they don't have a long history of developing starters and signing starters to deals that have worked out long term. Kevin Gosman is really the only one. Like Nate Pearson was supposed to be next up. Ricky Tiedemann is a guy in their minor league system who has incredible stuff, but is now back on the IL. You know, because he's got a funky windup. It's kind of Chris Sale-esque, where it's like it's a lot of lanky levers. It's a herky-jerky motion. It's going to be tough for him to stay healthy long term. So they don't really have like a lot of those guys. And then I think they traded Simeon Woods Richardson over the Twins, and like he's all right. Like he was their best pitching prospect, or at least one of them. So I look at Bassett and I look at a 3.05 ERA, and he's been very good from a production standpoint this year. But I'm also looking at a 4.38 xERA, and you look at his baseball savant, you see a lot more blue than you do red, which is generally not what you want to see from a guy who you're relying on to kind of be your number 2 right now.
Yeah.
You say Kikuchi, 3.89 ERA. The production has been there. 5.01 xERA. You see more blue than you do red because of the hard hit rates that he's allowing. He's just getting pissed on right now.
Yeah.
And then you look at Barrios. Let's pull up Barrios for a second. Barrios's fastball has always been the issue. His fastball last year was arguably the worst pitch in all of baseball. And he's got a 4.70 ERA, 4.88 xERA. And his fastball this year, he's basically cut it down. So last year he was throwing at about 28%, this year 26%, and it's just still getting crushed. The sinker has been better this year, but the sinker is still just not that good of a pitch. So what Barrios is probably a 4-5 guy What Bassett is probably a high 3s guy, and Kikuchi's probably a low 4s guy. Solid arms.
Yeah. Decent arms.
Yeah. Like guys who can eat innings, quality start kind of guys, 6 innings, 3 runs guys. But that'll keep them in ball games. That's why the Blue Jays are so good, because they'll score 4, they'll score 5, and they'll win. And their bullpen, I think, is actually one of the more underrated units in all of baseball. Like, I think they have a very good bullpen.
They do. They're one of the most slept on units, I think, in the league. But
agree.
I mean, on the other side of it, especially lately, I mean, it might be crazy to say, but I've been underwhelmed by the Blue Jays offense. I've been underwhelmed by the bats. I think they have
Varsho's been crap.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys are very inconsistent, middle to late of the order. They've had those games. I mean, they have big games where they put up double-digit runs. They did a couple against the look at that, Brian De La Bonds, the GOAT. They put him up. We were talking about that earlier. They put him up for a fantasy score for, I think, the first time today.
Really? Yeah, he just went yard off Trevor Williams.
Yeah, funny how that one works. But yeah, back to the Jays. I mean, their bats super inconsistent. And I mean, they have those breakout games where they look really good and they score a lot of runs, albeit a lot of those games have been against really bad pitchers. Like the Pirates series, I guess they looked really good against shitty arms. Even in Fenway, they weren't that impressive. I mean, they got swept, obviously, but in that 4-game series, they didn't do shit. So, I mean, it's this last really month, I have been really not impressed with a lot of their bats. And now you have Vladdy dealing with a little nagging injury here. Springer's been terrible. Like you said, Varsho's been terrible. That's more of the concern of anything for me, because there's going to be regression coming for some of those guys in the rotation, but their bats aren't really doing anything, even if they're in these games. So that's what worries me the most, especially looking at the schedule coming up. Not only you got the Yankees, who they've been struggling against this series, but you got Orioles and Rays coming up next 2 series too. Orioles at home, but then you're going to the Trop, which is best stadium in all of baseball, toughest place to play, of course. So, I mean, you got to figure it out. You got to start swinging the bats. So I'm worried about them.
Yes, it's right now they are not performing offensively to their standards. But, I was going through a lot of these Blue Jays bats, and George Springer might be the unluckiest hitter in all of baseball when you look at quality of contact stuff. So he's going to heat up. So while the pitching might regress, the offense is going to heat up. Dalton Varsho has been crap. He's going to heat up. He's much better than what he's shown. Alejandro Kirk has not gotten a hit in 3 weeks.
Terrible.
He's going to heat up. He's just too good of a pure hitter not to. There's other guys in the Blue Jays lineup who I expect to be hitting better. And while Vladdy is dealing with something nagging, he's going to be fine and he's going to be back. And when you have Bo Bichette and Vladdy in the same lineup, when Springer's about to heat up and Varsho's going to get better and Kirk's going to get better, they're going to have a summer to remember, I think. I think they're just going to hit so much that while these pitchers are regressing, they're going to keep winning games because they're going to put up 7 to 9 runs a game.
Yeah.
They're just a terrifying offense, I still think. Like, yes, they have been struggling, but they're still damn good. And so it's like you can point to negative regression on the pitching side, but you have to point to positive regression on the offensive side. So they're all going to even out, and the Blue Jays are just going to keep winning, in my opinion.
That's fair. I can respect that. I do want to talk about this game today, though, because it is a pretty interesting one. I know you said you didn't have any plays, but we do still have some games to talk through for the people, see what we can come up with. We got Jose Barrios minus 140 at home against Nestor Cortez, which, I mean, usually I would say is a lot of respect, but for how Barrios is pitched at home, it's starting to become a little bit of the norm of the lines that you see. Even though that 9 total does seem a little bit high, it's kind of the same thing. They've been giving them higher totals, even when he's pitching and gets the line respect in Toronto. So it's an interesting one for sure. One that I can't really wrap my head around. What are your thoughts here?
A lot of smart people I know are on the Yankees, and I kind of disagree. Cortez has just not looked good, just objectively. Like, he has not looked good. He has not looked the same. His command has not been there. I think the Blue Jays have the starting pitching matchup edge today. They have home field advantage today, and they're coming off a couple of losses against the Yankees who are heating up. But I know a lot of smart people in the Yankees, but the Yankees are getting a lot of the money, and that line ain't budging. I kind of think the Blue Jays pull this one out here today. Not enough. Well, first, I wouldn't bet on it at all because I banned myself from Yankee games. But just objectively looking at the game, this feels like one that the Blue Jays steal. I don't know, a popular Yankees team at plus money when the line isn't budging, it's not a side I want to be on. I mean, this was plus 110, plus 115. Now it's plus 120. That's not a side I want to be on. But at the same time, like, you want to lay juice to the Blue Jays? Yankees have looked better. Like, I kind of like the over. Line movement disagrees, right? Wasn't it at 9 at minus 110, minus 115? It's going down. I still kind of like the over.
I still do too. I honestly kind of might like the first 5 over. I think we get runs early here. I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think Nestor gets blown up early by this lineup and then kind of settles in later in his outing, or we just get the Jose Barrios blow up from the start, which I really don't think we get that. But I'll tell you what, I'm laying minus 140 with the Jays if I see Vladdy not in that lineup again. Which, like I said, Barrios at home has been getting some respect. This is a high total as well. But without Vladdy, this number seems a little stranger. So
I agree.
I will gladly lay that if that ends up being the case. But I mean, even if he's in that lineup, I do still like them to put up runs against Nestor. That's kind of what I thought there. Can go to the game starting up a little sooner too. Your boys, the guards with Logan Allen, who is sneakily becoming one of my favorite pitchers to watch in the league. Again, going up against Dylan Cease, who is probably more popular today than he's been in the past handful of weeks. I'm interested to see what you got to say about this game.
Yeah, it's so funny. The reason I didn't have any plays today is a lot of my leans, a lot of the things I liked were very against line movement. I like the over in Guardians White Sox. I like the under in Dodgers Cardinals. And the lines disagree with me. So that's why it's like, a very limited slate. I have a couple of leans and the market disagrees where I'm like, all right, I'll stay away. Like that's how I bet. I have to already like the play. I have to have my model disagree and I have to have the market disagree with me. That's when I make plays actionable. And that didn't happen today. That I just don't understand the move from 8 to 7.5 and it's still dropping. I get that the Guardians offense is not good, but against a guy like Dylan Cease with command issues, that's one of those. The Guardians are one of those teams that can really kind of piece together runs. But you do have favorable weather conditions for the ballpark to the under. So, but then again, you did yesterday too. Yeah. And the White Sox just didn't give a shit. They were just pelting balls out of the ballpark. And Logan Allen is good, but the White Sox better split is against lefties. Considering 7.5 is at plus money, like that should be the play. But again, it opened at 8 and moved down to 7.5, and it's still moving. It might even end on 7. I mean, no, it won't. What time is it? It's about to start. So it's probably going to stick there. But like 7.5 at plus money, for betting on the under there's a very small margin of error for how these two offenses stack up. And it's not like the White Sox bullpen is any good. Guardians bullpen got a lot of work yesterday. So did the White Sox. Like, it's a sneaky over, but the market disagrees. So it's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I do think the move down to the under is interesting with as much respect as they're giving Cease, which, yes, again, another situation kind of somewhat similar to the Blue Jays. I mean, they're missing Jose Ramirez, which maybe is even a little more important with how terrible their offense has been.
I think it's so important.
Yeah, I mean,
without him, it's like,
yeah,
who's going to drive runs?
Yeah, other than Stephen Kwan, like he's not driving in runs because he's getting base. Like there's really nobody else doing much. I mean, you got Ahmed Rosario, who strikes out maybe 4 times every 3 at bats.
Zunino's like the worst player in the entire sport.
Yeah, thankfully he's not in the lineup today. But I mean, I've been pounding that drum since he's been striking out 4 times.
Is it Gallagher?
Yeah, Gallagher's playing today.
He's horrible too.
Yeah, I mean, you want to hear the bottom of the lineup for the guards today? It is
Rocchio.
Yeah, Will Brennan, Gabriel Arias, Rocchio, Gallagher, Miles Straw.
I mean, they're not hitting. Like that's why it's like I like the over, but it's hard.
The total's moving down.
Yeah, but like it's Cease, man. Like the Guardians weirdly sometimes can hit him, and I just think the White Sox are going to hit Allen a little bit. Like, what is that first 5 like 3.5?
It's probably 4, right? Can check that to make sure. It's probably 4 juiced under if I had to guess. But I don't know. I don't want to fade Logan Allen, man. I like Logan Allen.
I like Logan Allen too.
You're
Yeah, maybe just the full game over. If it's at 4, the full game over. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 juiced the under. Yeah, there we go.
I think it lands on that.
I can see that. I can 100% see that.
Yeah.
FanDuel has 4.5. That's probably pretty interesting. Yuri K is over already. W Crabs.
W Crabs.
Prop of the millennium.
Prop of the millennium.
I think that's what he phrased it as, and he posted it. Yeah, he was texting me about it earlier too. He's like, "Yeah, I love this. It got over in 3 innings. Shout out Crabs, even on his off day. W Crabs.
Wow. W Crabs.
Yeah, that's huge. But yeah, kind of lean with you on that over. Kind of like that too. I think even in a situation where that Guardians lineup is pitiful today, I do think Logan Allen gets hit up a little bit too.
Yeah,
unfortunately, even though he's my guy. I
just think this is like a 5-3 game, like, which is not that much. Like,
it's really not.
And it's plus money now. Like, but the market, like, I mean, this was an 8.5. This was an 8 at -115 towards the over, and it's 7.5 -120. Like,
that's
somebody
scary.
knows something.
Somebody just might. They just might.
But I disagree with that person. You dickhead. You don't know what you're talking about. I do.
Hey, maybe you try and, God forbid, the offenses come out and look horrendous. Maybe get a little live over. When you get a little,
could be. You get a 5.5. Probably they go 3 shutout. You get a 5.5.
100%. 100%. I'm not against it. I've been nailing a couple of these lower totals, which I guess the one yesterday involved the Braves, so I guess I can't really claim that one as a big win. But Strider Evaldi was 7.5 yesterday. I took that. Day before, I had I forget who was on the mound, but the Marlins Nats over, which got over with the Soler walk-off nuke, so maybe a little lucky there too.
I wanted to take that. I took the Phillies Giants instead, and the Phillies went 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, and I lost on the hook still.
Oh yeah, our squad ride was the Phillies that night, so we were feeling great about that. That was awesome.
You should have. That was the right play. How do you cap 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position? Alex Cobb got removed in the 4th, and they still didn't win. That was one of the worst performances I've seen by a team this year. Like, they were just horrible.
The pop-up too, which not only led to a run on that play, but then one like directly after the next batter. Shambles. Do click on the game, Josh, the Guardians White Sox game though, because that's an interesting comment. If that's true, go to on like the little scroll bar, go to the right to pitcher props. Go down to earned runs. That interests me. Logan
Allen.
That's interesting. As well as he's been pitching. I know it's I saw Nikki in chat say he was set at 3.5, which I think I did see that a little bit earlier, or somebody sent me that earlier. It's been kind of going back and forth, but -170 to the over with how great he's looked. And I know the White Sox have been really, really good against left-handed pitching, especially in the last couple of weeks. I was looking at that the other day. I think they're like top 3 in the league in WRC plus the last couple of weeks. But 2.5 -170, borderline 3.5, depending on where you're looking.
Here, I'm gonna throw this in here real quick. On my book in Vegas, they have the White Sox first 5 team total over 1.5 at -170 as well. That is very interesting. It's pretty much the same bet, right?
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
I hate this slate. Like, fucking horrible.
All right, I'll get out of here.
Yeah, that one right below it too. The first earned run allowed. Usually, you get. I know it's Dylan Cease versus Logan Allen, right? So it's a pitching mismatch, even if you look at names. But usually, you get, even if it's a better pitcher, the away team is favored to score by quite a bit, and we get the home team -120. That might just be a Yurfie for about 5 or 6 runs in the bottom of the first. Just might be.
First strikeout thrown. Lay 4 units on Cease.
Yeah, Cease, that might be free, man. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the over.
I think it's gonna hit. I mean, I don't love it, but like, there's no way I could bet on this under. No way with the variance here. No way.
Yeah, everything we're
Plus
looking
money.
at, and I mean, baseball brain is telling me White Sox bats, and everything I'm seeing on Twitter is telling me that C's might have the worst start of his career. So I'm down to back some runs. Just lock that
Yeah.
in. 100% ready for that. And then Cards Dodgers. That game makes my head hurt. I'm not gonna lie. That makes my head hurt. I don't know.
I've seen smart people on the Cardinals, and
Seen a
I
whole
just
lot of Cardinals.
don't understand why at all. And the line movement is like weirdly supporting them. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How could you back Wainwright? Like, I get Cardinals against the lefty, but Arias has been good lately.
Yes,
He's
yeah.
been bad early, but then he settles in and he just doesn't allow anything. That's why I was like, Dodgers on a travel. So the bats might come out a little bit slower. I don't think the Cardinals are going to have this great day against. I'm thinking like if you want to play this though, it might be the first 5 under because I know that both bullpens have been used a ton. That's probably why they're like, all right, offense is going to come late. But is it at 5? Yeah, dude, I like that first 5 under. But like the market
yeah,
completely disagree.
bang. We got a
What
Leon
happened?
Soto single. Bangs.
No way. That's
Bangs.
sick. What a call.
Let's go. Air.
That's sick.
Now we go to Mountcastle when he comes back up, which he's 0 for 2, I think. So he's got to do something. But yeah, I am kind of wanting to take the Dodgers. I love taking the Dodgers in spots where everybody's fading them.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do. And I mean, this matchup for me just screams one of those fake sharp Dodger spots, to be honest with you. And I'm a Urias guy. I'm not going to act like he's been overly impressive throughout the full course of the season, but I like what I've seen lately. Obviously not impressed with Wainwright in any sort of matchup whatsoever against this lineup. So I'm kind of leaning Dodgers. I don't know how I want to play it, though.
I don't hate it either.
I just might have to be it on a very short slate today. Just might have to be the good old Dodgers squad ride, which I guess we're gonna have to figure that out because we have 3 games here, really 2 games. Because
Yeah, 2.
it's really just Yankees, Jays, and Dodgers, Cardinals because the White Sox are starting up in like 20 minutes. So man, we got to think of what we're doing here, chat. We can't even like make a poll really because we got 2 games here. We just got to decide.
Just squad ride Lakers money line.
Dude, I saw you come on and talk about the Heat money line yesterday. You're an NBA sharp now. Some people are saying.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I don't know much about the NBA, but I know about how sports work. And like Nuggets take game 1, like you're gonna give me plus 300 on like the other team to, make it a 1-0 ball game. And like well, who are the Celtics? Like the Celtics are good. They're not so much better than the Heat. I could see the Heat winning this series.
Yeah.
So, didn't end up betting it, but I was like, I think that's a good play.
100%. 100%.
And I think the same with the Lakers. You're going to give me plus 175 with LeBron in a game where they have to win. Yeah. I mean, that might just be a trap, but like, I don't think so. I think the Lakers win this game.
I mean, this series, like, not that it's the same mismatch, I guess, between both of these series, but you're probably going to see zigzag results, kind of how we saw in game 1 with both these teams. Because they're in, like, line-wise, somewhat similar circumstances. So it's probably going to be one hits and the other doesn't hit. Probably.
Yeah, like I think the Celtics probably cover that number the next day.
Yeah, probably. I think they do come out in game 2 and shut the Heat down a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Not going to be too biased as a Heat fan, but we'll see. We do got to get squad ride going. I don't know what your thoughts are. I kind of want to put the Dodgers in it, but I just don't know how we want to play them. Do we just want to cut the shit and go for the ML?
Cut the shit and go with the Lakers. I swear. Like, I it's weird enough. I'm a baseball guy. My favorite play on the board is Lakers money line. I know that's crazy, but like, I think they make it 1-1. I really do. Like, I've been watching the playoffs. That's my thing. I only watch the Knicks in the regular season. But I've been watching the playoffs. Like, that seems like a game where you get legacy games from LeBron and AD. And we here on SportsCenter, like, is LeBron the GOAT again for the 58th millionth time? Like, I think the Lakers win that game. And you got plus 175 too. It's like, do you want to lay minus 150 with the Dodgers? Do you want to lay minus 140 with the Blue Jays? Like, those totals are kind of weird. Like,
yeah,
the baseball slate is really tough. I think The baseball guy is telling you I think the squad ride should be Lakers.
Put it in the poll. We'll put it in the poll.
Up to you guys.
We'll take the points though. We'll take the points in the squad ride.
Ah, come on.
We'll
take
take
the
the points.
Lakers. Get the money line.
We'll take the points in the squad ride. Gotta be smart. Gotta be smart.
I
Conservative.
mean, like, you don't have to put like 4 units on it, but like a 1 unit play. You guys are up on the squad ride anyway. Didn't you win yesterday?
We did. You know what? You see what our squad ride was yesterday? It was Red Sox team total.
Yeah, dude. I looked like a freaking moron on my stream. Everyone was telling me like, oh, Javon's on Red Sox, everyone's on Red Sox. And I was like, are they really? Is Marco gonna Marco again? You know how Marco does, where he just like he allows like 50 balls over 100 miles an hour, gets out. I was like, I think he weirdly does that today. I'm recording the Just Baseball show. I get off at second inning. It's 9-0. And I'm like, thank God I didn't bet on the Mariners.
Yeah. It's just classic Marco activity.
Yeah, it's just like
Classic.
sometimes it's 9 runs, sometimes it's 0. And you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it happens. I had my heart broken yesterday too. I had the Cubs. I was in doggy piss.
That you should have won that.
Yeah, that sucked. But we'll go with these 3 in the squad ride. We'll go Lakers plus 5.5.
Ah, lame.
We'll go Dodgers money line.
You think the Lakers cover but don't win?
Could be. I could see that being a much closer game or similar game, I guess, to what we saw game 1. So I do think they win, but I'd rather take points.
Soft.
Especially we saw a shit ton of points in that game first time around. I think it's going to be a little better defensively this game. So
Heat plus 8. Heat plus 8, and they won.
Yeah, Heat are different because they always get a ridiculous amount of disrespect on the line. So I don't know. We'll go with that though. Lakers plus 5.5, Dodgers money line, Yankees Jays over 9. Those are the 3 options for the squad right today. Josh, if you want to sauce up a poll, you can do that real quick. Get the people to vote. Make sure you get your votes in. And yes, Lakers adjustments will be huge tonight. Absolutely. I really wish we could just have like a good baseball slate every single day.
I know. I mean, occasionally, like every 3rd Thursday, it's just crap games. And the problem with short slates in baseball, that's when the lines get real sharp. That. It's like it's playoff baseball too. It's like they only have to focus on 6 games. When there's 15 games, tons of value on the board. 6 games, they sharp that shit up. And it's like really hard to find edges. So it's like you're kind of just going on gut. And I don't like betting on gut. Like I need multiple things to work out for me to make plays.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can deal with like the Thursday because that comes really sometimes every week, but like every other week, like you're saying. But it comes after we had yesterday. Yesterday was a moose piss slate, I think. Not as bad as today, but
yeah, I went 1-0-1, and DeGen was like, "You're the most boring capper of all time," and I'm like, "We're just building. We're just building. Like that's how I've always bet. It's like it's limited. It's everything has to work out, and Rome wasn't built one day.
Wasn't
as corny as that is.
Yeah, certainly wasn't, especially on short slates. Rome wasn't built on a consistent Dodgers minus 160 money lines. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
but we got a Candelario nuke 443. Good crap.
Jeimer?
Yeah.
Off Yuri?
There we go.
That's a matchup.
Nats might be back.
Are Nats back?
So, I mean, sources are saying they just might be back.
What is Tyler Anderson doing throwing a shutout right now? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's tough.
That's why this slate is terrible. I was like, yeah, the Orioles are so easy that they're going to lose. But, like, I'm not betting on the Angels. And look at them now.
Yeah, look at them. I mean, hey, you know what that means? That means it's a great sign for some Guardians bats coming up here in about 10 minutes against the most popular pick on the slate, Dylan Cease. So I'd love that. I locked in that over. Wish that could be a squad right option, but it's not. Instead, we're going to good old Reliable, who we've used probably more this season so far than we did the entirety of last season, and it's the Dodgers money line. We're laying the juice against the red-hot Cardinals with Julio Urias on the mound. Let's hope they can get to good old Wainwright. Mr. AARP is on the mound. Let's see the Dodgers bats continue to stay hot and get to our man here and the Cards' little win streak they have going where they're playing good ball. Pete, thank you for coming on. Maybe see you tomorrow, and we'll see you on your show tomorrow as well. I'll be back making my return.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be excited with a better slate. Hard to be worse than today. have some dubs today. Let's not go crazy with the units. Shout out Trent in chat. I know he's watching. Already donating some of his units back from his couple big wins. Let's not be like Trent today. Stay conservative. Let's be smart with the bets, but let's win the ones we do place. Like the squad ride, Dodgers money line. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Let's have a day. Appreciate
First game Nerfy, sure.
Yeah, I bet.
I bet.